But from a game point of view, I wanted to take the time to look at Uluru and see if I could get any good research into Aboriginal Dreamtime, wondering if that could be of any use to the role-playing game Wild. See this as a research trip for the role-playing game, looking into Dreamtime and the Aboriginal origins of that whole thing, to try and see if there's something useful in there that I can take away from the game. When you get near to Uluru, they explain to you that they don't like to refer to the creation stories as Dreamtime because they don't want you to think that it's something that they've dreamt up.
Who prefer us not to use the terms dreaming and Dreamtime because, of course, as Nick said, to them sort of implies that it was dreamt up. And if you said this was Kunya dreaming, they'd say, how is it dreamt up? You have all this evidence around the rock to back it up.
To them, it's all very, very real and is held very sacred to them. But it was something that had me thinking. Maybe there was a way of actually incorporating them into Wild. I really wanted to have some reference to Dreamtime in Wild, but I don't want it to be disrespectful, at least no more controversial than, say, for example, C.J. Carella's witchcraft is to pagan beliefs, or say, for example, cult is to the Kabbalah. But I also wanted something in Wild that comes a lot later on in the game, where the dreams themselves, from the level of dreaming, which is the collective unconscious, they try to break it out into our reality. Maybe this has happened before. Maybe this is what has inspired the Aboriginal Dreamtime and their creation stories. Maybe it's not that they dreamed them up, so to speak, but they have come from a collective unconscious that has always been there, and that they've broken through from the dream realms and become physical forms. Something to think about. Day 7, and we're just entering Kings Canyon. It's blooming hot, but it's very, it's like the surface of Mars in some places around here. Flies everywhere. After spending, I think it was about 4 days up in the Northern Territories, we flew back from Alice Springs to Adelaide and spent the rest of the holiday there. We took a couple of trips out during the day. Day 8, and we're just about to head to the zoo, of all things. Day 9, and today we've come into Port Adelaide. Come all the way to Australia, end up back in Germany. We also went up to the top of Mount Lofty. Great name, if ever there was one for a mountain. Okay, so this is day 10, the place that I like to call Jack Bristow, Victor Harbour. Get it?
Get near it. Right. Hello.
I'll give you that.
Hello. Come here. There you go. You get the trade-off. I get to rub your head.
and before you knew it, it was time to fly back. A particularly long flight back, 13 hours from Kuala Lumpur to Heathrow. That was after a 10-hour layover at Kuala Lumpur Airport, just sitting there waiting for the time to pass. So that was really my first flight abroad, and my first real holiday abroad as well. It's a bit of a surreal experience. It all feels a bit like a dream, which I think is only apt really, considering the sort of writing that I do. Most people buy postcards and t-shirts and souvenirs and things like that, whereas I buy some dice, which are suitably red and yellow and orange, which I thought reminded me of the high temperatures and the desert over in Australia. Would I do it again? Probably. I know it's a bit of a surprise. After the amount of complaining and moaning that I did before going, I was so convinced that I was either going to die in a horrific plane crash or be bitten by a gigantic spider. I don't know, there's just something strange about coming back to the UK. It just feels a little bit strange and a little bit off. It's almost like the negative parts that I hadn't noticed before have really been highlighted thanks to a couple of weeks away. Next video, expect some updates on NaNoWriMo writing, writing of the role-playing game, possibly some updates on the art, and maybe some game reviews. That would be cool. In the meantime, don't forget to check out the other videos that are on my channel. Most recently, an interview with Jen and Sylvia Soska, the Twisted Twins. Until next time.
Hooroo.